Dubai is a global capital for luxury. And one luxury item is an item that I like a lot or I'm a fan of, and that's watches. With me today is Omar Chaoui, the founder of Magana, who decided to create his own watch. Omar, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on there.
I know
I'm
your passion
honored.
for watches, and you're one of the people I know that probably has, not probably has, that has the most knowledge about watches. Something that's been very trendy for the last few years, at least just before or since COVID, and it's something that, as you know, I have a passion for, and that I've been learning more and more about. I certainly don't know as much as you, but I'm really happy that we're having this chat today
You're
because you're one of my references when it comes to watches.
you're too kind, and I do know that you and I know a couple of people that have a lot more knowledge and
Yeah.
depth than I ever will. But thank you, appreciate that.
Omar, tell us a bit about yourself. Where you're from, what you've studied, a bit of your career path, and what brought you to this point today.
All right. So my kids, especially my daughter Sophia, always tell me, "Dad, may just get to the point." So I'll try to get to the point. So Omar Chaoui, I was born and raised and educated in Morocco, the country where I come from, where my heart is and will always be. As you
As I know.
as you know, you're a very proud Lebanese, and
Yeah.
I'm as a proud Moroccan. I studied so upon graduating from high school, I studied tourism management.
Interesting.
Very interesting because it's basically like a business degree, but specialized in tourism, in the tourism industry, which is all about focusing on the experience that your customers will have.
Yeah.
The only thing you're selling them really is the experience and make sure that they have a good time.
Yeah.
And upon graduating, my mother, who had established herself here in Dubai back in the mid 1990s.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that your mom was
Yeah,
here.
yeah, she moved here. I think she first came here in 93, 94. She was working for a company. They were looking for clients and to expand in the Gulf. So she discovered Dubai, can't remember, 93 and 94. And in 1996, she moved here with her husband. And my kid brother, Sammy, was born here. And so from 96 until 99, I was coming here every summer to spend some time with my mom. Not the best time of the year, but
No.
anyways. And my mom opened her first business. She was taking franchises from Europe, retail franchises in different products, house linen, towels, toys, chocolate, whatever. And she would develop the sub-franchise network in the Gulf from Dubai.
Back in the day where there was so many brands available that needed to come here.
Exactly. Exactly. So she really, and she saw the potential because Dubai back then wasn't what it is, let alone
Of course.
Qatar or Kuwait or whatever else. There weren't as many malls, there weren't that many brands, there weren't that many
Retail
companies
was really
specialized. Well,
limited, yeah.
retail was beginning, right? And so as I graduate in 1999, she offered me my first job. She was like, "Look, this is a family business. I need help. You're educated now. Come and show us what you learned." And so that's how I ended up in Dubai. So it's been now a little over 26 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Love the place.
Yeah. I hope so after 26 years.
Look, it's statistically, I'm 48 now. I've spent more time here than I have in my own home country.
That happened to me this year, Omar. So I spent more time here than I've spent in Canada, where I grew up, and it
Yeah.
was shocking when I found out that, oh my God, I've now had more time in Dubai than I have in
And
Canada.
you remember all of the time you spent here, but not all of the time you spent
very
where you
correct. Of
where you
course.
grew up.
Of
So
course.
in terms of memory of the place, you're maybe at 70-30, and
Yeah,
you're not
You're
50-50,
right.
you know?
You're right. You're right.
Anyways, so I joined the family business, started working for her. I learned a great deal. And one of the things that I've learned is that working with family when you've had no experience
It's not the best
is
idea.
not the best idea.
Been there, done that. Yeah.
I love mama كنموت عليك ولكن thank you for the opportunity. And you know what? I wouldn't be here if it weren't for her, really.
Yeah.
And for my dad for letting me go and encouraging me. And anyways.
Bless them.
Allahumma ameen. And so after 3 years, I started being curious about something. So I moved to Dubai. I spent 2-3 years. I'm single. I'm young. I made a little bit of money, so I go out. I mingle. I socialize, and everyone that was pretty much my age were having interesting jobs with fancy titles with big companies. This guy is marketing executive at Reckitt Benckiser. This guy is a market research specialist at AC Nielsen. That girl is account manager
Brand manager
at
and this and that. Everybody's a manager.
Fortune Promo 7. I don't know if that
I
still
remember
exists.
it was,
FP7.
a big,
And
it was a big agency in the day.
I was working for my mom. And so the question that I was asking myself is, do I have this job and this title because I'm her son or because I deserve it?
Yeah.
And at some point you want to know what you're really worth.
What you're worth, yeah.
And that became kind of a source of attention. So I started looking for jobs. And I was, I was open to pretty much anything. I interviewed, so some of the interesting interviews I interviewed to be a school teacher at, what's it called? In near Wafi, the primary school, French primary school.
Yes, Georges Pompidou.
Georges Pompidou. So I interviewed to be a teacher. Didn't work. Actually, the guy who interviewed me, Mr. Julie Allah Yarhamou, his son, Rémi, became a good friend of mine, and he was my colleague at Vacheron Constantin a while back, and he fantastic stand-up guy. So I met his father before I met him. I interviewed to be a steward on Emirates, and believe it or not, this was 25 kilos ago.
Wow.
And they refused to give me the job because I was too light.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Apparently there was a weight limit.
Usually the weight limit is an upper weight limit, not a lower weight limit, but good for you.
Anyways, it would have been fun at 24
of course,
to get to travel the world and
yeah,
whatnot.
Of course.
I interviewed to be a sales guy for video games. That would have been fun.
Wow.
Anyways, and one of those interviews was for a watch brand called Baume & Mercier, part of the Richemont Group.
Yeah.
And I was interviewed by two people, Benoît de Klerk, who is now the CEO of Zenith globally.
Wow.
And Christophe Niquez, who is today, he's with the Siddiqui Group.
CEO of Siddiqui for a while as well.
CEO of Siddiqui for a while. And now I think he's CEO or Chief Business Development Officer for their non-watch businesses.
Yeah, new ventures.
Exactly, new ventures. Voilà. And both these guys
Salutation to Christophe,
to,
by the way, if he's listening.
And to Benoît.
Yeah, of course.
I'd love it if he's watching this anyway. And both these gentlemen were really my mentors. I remember vividly the day they decided to give me the job. So Benoît was the head of Richemont Middle East, and Christophe was the brand director for Baume & Mercier. So
and
that's
Christophe has gone on to become a legend in the watch or in the luxury business.
But honestly, both of them
I don't know
in their
Benoît,
own
but
right. But
Christophe,
trust me, but Benoît, you would love this. Benoît is Belgian. Grew up in Beirut. He speaks Lebanese better than I do.
Oh wow!
And I'm an Arabic native speaker, right? Which is always shocking.
I'd love to meet him one day when you come across his path.
So anyway, that's how I ended up in the watch industry, and I was recruited to be a trainer because in the franchising business where I was coming from, it's basically take the same recipe, replicate it somewhere else.
Copy paste.
Copy paste, and part of that is training. So I was recruited to be a trainer. So they sent me to Switzerland to be trained myself. Now, up until that moment, anyone spending more than $50 on a watch was an idiot.
Yeah. Anything more than a Swatch or a Casio.
Exactly. No, you can buy any watch you want, but more than 50, you're an idiot because any other $50 watch would give you the same time. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Little did I know that I would spend 10 times that amount
Hundreds
for my
of
own
thousands
watches.
on watches.
So I fell in love because for the first time, physics, math, and chemistry came together in a single device that could be made from A to Z by a single person.
Yeah.
And that really blew my mind. So that's how it all started.
You fell in love with watches there and then, you would say?
Yeah.
From love at first sight.
Not at first sight, because when I was interviewed and I saw the watches and I look at the website, but when you go to Switzerland and you sit down with the master watchmaker who puts a mechanical movement in front of you, and as he talks in front of you, very casually, the guy is picking up a little screwdriver and he has a little tweezer, and he's like, so you take the screw, you do like this, tack, and the way you do it is hang on, the way you do it is that you go from left to right. So first screw here, second screw to its right, not to its left. Then this piece, then, and you go all the way and you have your 71 pieces. When you're done, you go back in the opposite direction. Tack, tack, tack.
Show me.
And he explains this, and he's dismantled and reassembled the movement in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
All right?
Incredible. Hundreds
You
of pieces.
take 2 hours.
Dozens of pieces, yeah.
You take 2 hours.
And you don't
still
get
can't
it right.
do it.
Yeah.
It's just mind-boggling.
Of course. Very cool. Okay, so you worked you had a few jobs in the luxury business. I remember you worked for other brands as well. You were remind me
So
you were
Baume &
GM
Mercier,
of
Harry Winston, Roger Dubuis.
Roger Dubuis. So you were GM of Roger Dubuis at some
I was
point.
MD for Roger
MD
Dubuis
of Roger
Middle
Dubuis.
East.
You went to Qatar as well. You moved to Qatar.
Qatar, I was MD for Al Fardan Jewelry. Hi to the Al Fardan team, which I love. Big retailer in Qatar and Saudi Arabia. Spent there a year and then came back, and opened the Grisogono subsidiary.
Yeah,
That was my last corporate.
And so tell us a bit about, so these are big brands, these are big luxury brands, established brands, luxurious brands, with amazing places to work. I would say most of them, I haven't worked there, but I would imagine most of them are amazing places to work. What happens in your head and your career is progressing? You become MD. You started off with Mama, and now you're MD of one of the biggest watch brands in the world. What happens in your head where you say, you know what, I want to do my own thing? And I know that you didn't get right away into. We'll talk about Magana in a second. But is it a circumstances? Is it something that happened? Is it a mix of things? What made you just say, you know what, I'm gonna do my thing?
So it's not a specific moment per se.
Okay, and then we see that a lot. There's a mix, right? There's people who say I got a flash, and there's people who say actually it was a transition phase.
So there are two parts to the question. The first one is becoming an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
that's one story.
Yeah,
and then there is becoming a watch industry entrepreneur, and that's a sidestep, if you will, right? That September of 2003, when I went to Switzerland to be trained for Baume & Mercier. And as I was learning about watches and watchmaking and the history of it and the technicality of it, I did tell myself, and this I remember, I was 25, 26 years old. I remember telling myself, wouldn't it be cool to have my own watch brand someday?
As far as that.
Yes. And why did I tell myself that? Because that's when I realized the fundamental truth, which I think was said by Steve Jobs once, when he was asked about creating Apple and all the stuff that he created. He said, look, anything you look at around you, no matter how complicated, no matter how easy, no matter how sophisticated, has been made or thought of or imagined by another human being who eats, sleeps, and shits the way you do.
Mm-hmm. True.
Excuse my French.
No, true.
You know? And so at that time, I had realized that the people who had created those watch brands we were being taught about were fellow human beings just like myself. So why not me? And then I immediately killed the idea in my mind by telling myself, look, you're already too old to become an apprentice. You're not Swiss. You don't know anyone. You don't have any money. Forget it. Not going to happen. And you park
that
it.
slept for a long time.
And you park it, right?
Yeah.
Then
how did you become an entrepreneur? How the idea of this is something at some point has to start. Now you're telling us about a story of 20 years ago of something that you discovered you loved and you parked.
Yeah.
Right? At some point, see, the interesting part about this is how do you leave the comfortable corporate world and go into the venture, risk-filled, dangerous, crazy, uncomfortable world?
All right, so it's just between us, right?
Yeah, of course it's between us and whoever's listening, which should hopefully is a lot of people.
What I know about entrepreneurship, and I know quite a few people who are successful entrepreneurs, and I know some who haven't made it, and who went back to corporate, and that's absolutely fine. There's no judgment whatsoever because it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Some or most of those I know who are successful have have begun their entrepreneurship journey very early in life. They maybe had a job for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years at the most, and then went on their own. Most of them went on their own while they were single, unmarried, childless.
Where they could take risks.
Where they could take risks, and where especially they can live on the sofa and drink water and eat shawarma.
Yeah.
You know? So entrepreneurship is not something, although my mother is an entrepreneur, she herself became an entrepreneur past age 40. So I didn't grow up with that example of a father or mother figure who is an entrepreneur who tells you, or who indirectly tells you, you can believe in yourself and you can make it if you work hard enough, if you're smart enough, if you are socially smart enough. That's important.
So you became an entrepreneur at a later age in your life, where you already had, a bit like me. Actually, a bit like me, because I was in the corporate world for a long time. Then I became an entrepreneur, came back into the corporate world, became an entrepreneur, and so I kind of juggled between the two, and finally fell in a space where I had a bit of mix of both, which was fantastic.
Which is the ideal thing, yeah.
You're at the Degrees Ogono, 2018. You're the MD there, or?
I am the MD. We're running Asia, and the company wasn't doing as well as we thought, although our numbers were good. And all of a sudden, May 2018, I received a phone call from my boss. Very sorry, Omar, but we have to close down the office overnight.
Wow.
Okay, so that had to be managed, and so I stayed with the brand to manage stuff until end of June, and then I was out of a job. And so I tell myself, okay, July, August is summer, the kids are on holiday, I'll relax, I'm good enough, I have a great network. I had a very high opinion of myself, to be honest. I mean,
we all do, don't worry, we all do.
But when I come back, September, October, I'm looking for a job, and there is nothing, as in, no follow-up meetings, no nothing. I get, the first meeting, but nothing after that. And one morning, my wife, very gently, but very firmly, gives me a kick in the butt, and she says, do something. You don't find
shout out to Linda. And I want to ask you, on that point, I want to ask you, was it in a, I mean, I know you're laughing when you say kick in the butt, but was it in a supportive way, as in, hey, Omar, do something, I'm here for you, but do something with your time? Or was it like, hey, enough of this, get up and do something?
Bro, you know her.
Okay.
You know her. So it was both. No, look, it was a lot of love and support and benevolence, surrounded by a big punch.
Delivery. Good on Linda for doing that. And everything, by the way, we see that a lot, right? A lot of the entrepreneurs we meet, there's that kick in the butt, whether it's by your wife, by life, by everything, everything that pushes you. It's not everybody that's, hey, one day there's a spark. Oh, I'm gonna do my own thing. Like you said, it's when you're younger, maybe, but not in an older age.
No, 100%.
Okay, so get up and do something with your life. So get up and do something. You useless husband. And
voilà. And so I did have an idea that I had kind of implemented when I was in the Grisogono, related to understanding how a retail store works and how to improve on the traffic you actually have.
Yeah.
And I have a really good friend of mine, Andreas, I'm sure you met him, who's based in Nicosia, Cyprus, who comes from the market research industry, and who had developed something for the FMCG industry, which is a very data-driven industry.
I remember that project.
Yeah, so it was called Dynalux, for Dynamic Luxury, and what we created is a tool that we call the KYA tool. KYC, Know Your Customer, is CRM when it comes to luxury. KYA, Know Your Audience, there was nothing. And so we developed an app, and
I remember there was an interesting idea behind it. It was about heat maps of you're in a store and
not heat map. It was low tech.
Yeah,
it was low tech. I won't go into too much detail, but basically the idea is that the sales guy or the sales lady on the shop floor has interacted with the customer, so they can tell you if it's a man, a woman, if they're tourists or not, what size they want, and they can tell you or guesstimate why the purchase didn't happen. We don't have the right size, we don't have the right color, it's too expensive, cheaper somewhere else, whatever. And so all we did is give through an app a way for the sales guy to give me this information without divulging name, phone number, email address. And that's it. And so we captured that data, we analyze it, we feed it back to the brands, and we did quite well. First clients were Bulgari, then Balenciaga, then Chanel,
Big names.
Level Shoes, IWC,
Yeah.
and we really were delivering value, and it was fantastic. That was 2019.
What happened in 2019?
Not much. At the end of 2019, we raised $400,000,
There's
so
also
that
a
was
small
great.
thing called COVID. Yeah.
But in 2020,
Yeah.
March 2020, COVID hits, almost closed.
Retail's
And
dead. Yeah.
in the agreement that we had, there was a clause that any client could break the contract only in case of force majeure. 2 points, open the parenthesis, earthquake, fire, pandemic.
Pandemic was in the
Pandemic
contract
was
back
in-
then.
Was in
Wow.
the contract. Who would have guessed, man? There
Yeah.
weren't the pandemic in
Sure you
100
didn't-
years.
I'm sure you didn't stop at that line. Yeah. Wow.
You know?
Wow.
So all of a sudden, now I'm spending my friends and investors' money to sustain a company that delivers zero revenue for months on end, and you have no idea when this thing is
Very
over.
difficult. Yeah.
So it was the worst time for me.
Needless to say, this venture failed.
Uh,
Not by choice, not because you didn't you mismanaged it by
so
circumstances.
as luck would happen, in September of 2020, I start pitching it again, and long story short, I end up trying to sell my app to a watch retailer who asked me to help him liquidate 48,000 luxury watches. So I pivot
to trading watches.
to trading watches. And with the money I make, I managed to reimburse my investors 30 cents on the dollar, which was better
Which
than
is pretty
zero.
good, yeah.
And they were actually surprising to me. They were all very grateful and thankful that I did that. And I was like, you know what? This is too hard. I'm not a techie. I love watches. Let me stick to watches.
So big failure. Let's call it a big failure.
I don't like failure, honestly, because failure would mean that you drop it and you
Okay.
go find a job or something.
Non-successful project. Let's call it this way.
It
Non-successful project. Let's call it this way. It's important,
Sure.
Omar. Why am I saying this? It's important for people who listen to us that start a business that either fails or is
what you
non-successful
mean,
or all
yeah,
that. It's important for them to know that, look, you get up and you do it again. Right?
I
It's
agree
very
with
easy
you.
in a situation like yours where you had all your hopes up, you had a great product, it had great momentum, and then something comes completely out
nowhere.
of the blue. I mean, it could
You're blindsided, yeah.
Not only that, it could discourage anybody. It could discourage anybody from starting a business again after all the effort and sweat that you put into it.
That's why I don't call it a failure. I call it a great learning curve, a learning opportunity
Call it a learning curve.
in that sense.
Call it a learning curve or a learning opportunity. You're,
in absolute terms.
half full, half empty.
Voilà.
right?
It's both at the same time,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Anyways, so
Start trading watches.
as I start trading watches and I start making some serious money compared to the app, and I was like, why am I wasting? I love watches. Let me go back to what I love.
What I know, yeah.
And so that's what I do. And so 2021, I start my company, register it with you guys,
Yeah.
by the way.
Virtues on
Thank
it's
you.
true. Yeah.
That was April 21. And I'm doing fine. Summer 21, I'm in Paris. I'm wearing a Daytona on my wrist, and someone tries to steal it off my wrist. They couldn't, but it
Good.
was a very scary moment
Yeah.
because as I was running away, I almost got hit by a car. And that made me realize that it made me realize two things. One, market research. You can't wear a watch like that, like the watch you wear. You can't wear in a place like Paris or London or Madrid or Barcelona
Definitely
or Geneva
not,
or
yeah.
Zurich or Berlin or
A lot of places.
a lot of
actually,
places
yeah.
you can't wear them
Unfortunately.
safely. We're very blessed to be here where we
Of
can.
course.
So that was learning one. Learning two is that, la samah Allah, God forbid, if something did happen to me, death or crippled or whatever, for as long as I'm unable to work, there's no money coming in, there's no business happening.
Yeah.
Because the only asset when you trade watches is your name and reputation. And I told myself that I was an idiot because as I am an entrepreneur, I should actually build a business that can run without me always being there. Of course, you have to be there from the get-go,
Yeah.
but at some point, you need to be able to rely on a team,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so what can I do? It needs to be in watches. So what are the options? Option 1, be a retailer. Problem is, it's cash intensive, which I don't have, and most of the good brands are taken. Option 2, become a supplier to the watch industry. There's no way I can compete, and I don't have the capital, etc., because China provides everything for dirt cheap. Although there is quality. There really is quality. Third option, you can create content. A podcast, an Insta page, a magazine, whatever. I don't have the talent.
Valid option. Why did you think you don't have the talent? You have the knowledge. You have a lot of knowledge.
I don't have the talent, honestly, and I don't have the discipline. You need talent and discipline.
Yeah.
You know,
you need to create content all the time.
I don't have any of those. And fourth option, create a watch brand. How hard is that?
Which sounds like it's the hardest one, but
so here's the interesting thing. I have witnessed in my career, Richard Mille started 50 years old and create this amazing brand that we all know. All right, and he wasn't a watchmaker. Now, granted, he had a network. He was based in Switzerland.
Great
he
marketing.
had a lot, great marketing genius, etc., etc. Then there's Max Busser, MB&F, who was my CEO, a very dear friend. Salut Max, who also is not a watchmaker.
Well, and he's a very creative guy.
He's extremely creative guy, and he started his brand with his own money and with a vision and 20 years later, this year is their 20th, by the way, and he made his vision a reality. So these are two gentlemen, non-watchmaker, watch entrepreneur, who are very successful.
So you said I could do it?
No, because these two guys were in Switzerland, had experience that were much tougher than mine. They were involved in production, etc. But then you have a gentleman from Sweden whose name I can't remember, who created Daniel Wellington in the mid-2010s. Super successful brand, not my jam, to be honest, but watch brand
works.
That works, over 100 million revenue.
Wow.
Then you have Baltic, created by a passionate guy, Etienne, in France. I think his name is Etienne, in 2016, 2017.
So you've had examples of
example of successful ventures, some that did haute horlogerie, MB&F and Richard Mille, and some that did entry-level watches, and who had nothing to do with the industry. And I found myself kind of in between.
Torn.
Not torn, but in between, in the sense that I don't have the experience that Max or Richard had, but I have a lot more experience than the guys behind Baltic and Daniel Wellington. So I was like, all right, maybe there is room for me to do something between these two. All right. 2 days later, I tell my family, my brother Hamza and his wife Muna and Linda. We were on a train going to south of France. I tell them, guys, I want to create a watch brand, and they go like, "Duh." Like, what do you mean, duh? Like, well, obvious. I mean, you're so into
That's
it.
What you've always needed to do.
Like, guys, I didn't get the memo. Why didn't you tell me? And that's how it all started. That's how Magana was born, really.
So, where do you start?
So we were going to spend a week vacation with our friend Michael, who had very generously invited us to a lovely place in south of France.
Shout out to Michael.
Shout out to Michael.
A lot of shout outs today.
We know a lot of friends in common.
Yes.
Anyways, on the first evening, he tells us, look, at the aperitif, I'll introduce you to everyone who's here. And I get to meet his father-in-law, whom I had met only briefly at the wedding a couple of years prior.
So did I. Yeah, nice guy.
Very nice guy. Daniel loves his cars. So we start chatting, and I quickly
realize
Alex's
daughter as well. We might
yes,
as well.
Yes, a lot of shout outs.
Yeah.
Anyways, and we start chatting. So I don't know Daniel. I know he's Swiss, and I know he's an entrepreneur. I don't know a lot more than that. And then I start understanding from the conversation that he's related to the watch business. And when I ask, what do you do in the watch business? He says, I'm a supplier. Supplier of what? Pretty much anything you need. Like what? Like, if you need a watch case, I can make it. If you need a watch, I can make it. If you need straps, I can make them. Say, hang on. 2 days ago, I decided to launch my own watch brand. I know everything there is to know, I think, about watches, except how to make one. I was like, well, that's funny, because I know pretty much nothing except how to make one.
Wow.
So what's your idea? I explain my idea, price positioning, marketing, this, that, and the other. And it's like, all right, you should talk to my friend Nam, who is a partner of his based out of Hong Kong. The next day, we're on a Zoom call. And that's how the work started.
You called it Magana.
Magana.
Magana in Arabic means machine. Is that where it comes from or not? Makana means machine. Where does the name Magana come from?
So, Magana is the Moroccan word in the Moroccan dialect to say a wristwatch. It's that simple.
Okay.
The name is interesting because I wanted a 2 to 3 syllable name with syllables that are pronounceable correctly by everybody everywhere. And as I'm toying with different syllables, my father calls me. And when your dad calls, you pick up. No matter what you're doing, no matter who you're with.
Correct.
So I pick up. It's like, am I disturbing you? I'm like, no, everything okay? Yes. I was like, well, I'm actually working on something. I was like, is that in Arabic, خدام على المكانة. Are you working on the watch? I was like, yes, thank you very much. Have a nice day.
I just found the name.
And that's it, Magana.
Yeah, very good.
And that's that.
Very good. Omar, I mean, you have to be crazy in today's competitive watch world. It's not a new craft. It's quite an old craft. Many brands out there, many successful brands out there. You have to be crazy to say to yourself, many independent watchmakers out there,
and micro brands
as well. You got to be crazy to say to yourself, I'm gonna create a watch, it's gonna work, and I'm gonna make money out of it. What makes you believe, because this is relatively a new company, what makes you believe, or what sets you or your products apart from everybody else, or you believe will set you apart from everybody else?
All right. During COVID, I had read a book called Start With Why by Simon Sinek. I don't know if you've read it.
No.
Okay.
I've heard about it. But
have you ever watched the YouTube video Simon Sinek Start With Why?
No.
To make it very quick, he supports the hypothesis that brands that have a strong reason to exist, and the reason is unrelated to the product, manage to connect on a deep subconscious emotional level with consumer groups.
Interesting.
While other brands that are product centric won't do so. So you take an example, Apple and Samsung. Samsung, that's the same example he does. Samsung is a superior product. Apple is a prettier product. Apple, people will line up in front of the store to be the first to get the new iPhone. Samsung, no one cares. Both are successful. But one has that certain je ne sais quoi. Because in their mission statement, Apple says, we want to challenge the status quo. How do you do that? We say that technology can be pretty, and we make pretty products. Samsung is, we want to make the best technology we can. Both are valid points. I happen to believe in option one rather than option two.
And the aesthetics.
Okay? It's not just the aesthetic. Whatever your mission statement is, right? Yeah. And so when I started Magana, I told myself, let me start with the why. Why do I think the world needs another watch brand? Because trust me, the world doesn't. Okay? Why would I matter as a brand? What would make a difference? And it took me a while, and shout out to my friend Reda, who's a high school friend, who's a genius in marketing. He helped me figure it out. What I have realized is that most, if not all, of watch brands will speak to you on 3 topics: their heritage, if they have, their craftsmanship, and their technical ability, right? For me, by default, if I make a watch that I want to sell to you, by default, you're going to get accuracy and craftsmanship and quality, etc. So I don't see why I should participate in the noise and try to scream, to shout louder than everybody else on the same topics. So I don't speak about these topics. What I speak about instead is time. All watch brands, all watches measure time. And yet, surprisingly, very little brands speak of what time actually is. We're in our mid-40s, late 40s. We have children. We know that the time we have with our children now is not going to come back. Time is the one asset that you cannot transfer, that you cannot save, that you cannot buy. It's the one asset that we all have.
And the older we get, the more we realize that
exactly.
It's the most valuable thing we have.
100%. And so the idea of Magana, really at the heart of the brand, is time for what matters. Realize now, your kids, if I'm not mistaken, they're 6
And two.
and 2.
Yeah.
All right. Now they are asking you, Dad, play with me, Dad,
Yeah.
take me to this, etc. In 10 years, they won't.
Yeah.
So now is the time for you to give them that time, you know?
True. Omar, I want to get into the business now. We've spoken
Yes.
about the product enough, and a lovely product, by the way. I love your watches, and I think they're very creative, very colorful. I've seen a lot of independent watch brands and micro brands and so on, and I think that you genuinely you make nice watches.
Thank
I want
you.
to talk about the business. What has been the biggest challenge so far? How many drops have you had so far? How many models have you produced?
we've made 6 watches
Yeah.
of the same collection,
Yeah.
and in 1 or 2 weeks we're launching the new collection, completely different
Yeah.
in terms of style, price point. I have the prototypes with me,
Yeah.
actually. I'll show you. And these will be the next ones. So in my business model, so traditionally in the watch industry, the business model is brand makes product, sells it to a distributor or the regional subsidiary, who then sells it to retail stores who sell them to customer. At every step of the chain, there's a profit margin to be made.
Yeah.
All right. In my business model, so far, I'm not saying it won't change,
Yeah.
but so far, it's direct to consumer,
Yeah.
which means that there are no middlemen taking a cut, which allows me to put my prices at what I consider to be very competitive prices.
Okay.
I forgot what the question was.
The question was what has been your biggest challenge so far, and after having 6 models out,
So
running the business, what has been? Is it profitability? Is it because
So
at lower volumes?
So forget about profitability. I would be lying if I said we're profitable. We're not.
But how do you run a business if it's not profitable unless
So
you have a plan to become profitable?
So the plan is there 100%. So right now I have 2 activities. I have the watchcurators.com,
Yeah.
my business of trading watches, sourcing watches for clients, etc. That is a profitable business that allows me to pay my bills,
Mhm.
but it also allows me to finance Magana. Magana, I don't have an investor. Not saying no, I don't want to have an investor, but having been through the exercise of raising money and
With
knowing
friends,
the stress it causes to use other people's money, I'm extremely weary about it. I'm not saying no, I don't want to do it. I'm saying I'll do it when I really, really do.
Are you close to breaking even with Magana?
Not yet.
How confident are you with your plan to make it a profitable business, or is it still a risk that you're taking?
I am betting my life on it.
Okay,
Literally.
Interesting.
So here's the thing, and you might laugh, but
No, I'm not going to laugh. I just want to get into the
he-
business
here's
side
the-
of things to
he- here is
understand,
the thing.
Because sorry, Omar, just to interrupt for a sec. People need to understand that entrepreneurship is not you start something
And it works.
and you build a nice watch and you make money. That's not the way it works. Right? That's not the reality.
I
of
wish it
things.
was, but no, it's
Yeah.
not. Here's the reality. I know deep inside me, know from knowledge, right? I know that at some point in time, Magana will be a globally recognized, respected, successful, profitable brand. I know that. I can't tell you when, but I can tell you it is happening. I know that. Most people don't, but they'll get with the program at some point.
Yeah.
All right. It's not even a matter of faith. It's not I believe. I know.
Interesting.
I have that vision is super clear on my mind. Tonight, where are you sleeping?
At home.
In your bed? In your bedroom?
Correct.
All right.
You're as
Do you
confident of that.
know that?
Well,
or do
no.
you believe that will happen?
Well, I believe that will happen, and I know that it's going to happen,
Okay,
unless,
so
God
you-
forbid, something else
Voila.
happens.
So you are so confident in that future reality that it has no choice but to be.
Yeah.
Same here.
That's fantastic. That's a great vision. So you really believe in that project.
Not believe, I know.
You know. Wow. Okay. Very cool. All right. So what are the future plans? What are the future plans in the next call it in the next couple of years? First of all, you don't have an idea? You said on the timeline of when this will become profitable. Besides watches, or are you only focusing on watches now? Or besides watches, what do you think that you would have that it's going to help you become profitable faster if you build other things, or are you focusing solely on the watches and doing more of the same of what you're doing now until it builds?
So despite the fact that Magana means watches, watch are my first love and is the product I know best, I understand, as the one I have always sold. Now, the plan or the vision is that in the future, can't say really when, to develop other OSFA products. OSFA stands for one size fits all. Okay, I don't want to manage the hassle of sizes and whatever. And so I'm right now focusing on watches. I'm looking at developing a small leather goods line, maybe eyewear.
Would it be under the same brand?
Under the same brand, exactly, because the exercise of building the brand with a strong why is done and being done. And on that, I have to say that I'm pretty proud of the work that's been done between me and the team. And I believe that there is room for a brand with a vision and with principles. You know, one of the things that I had decided to do with Magana, as far as watches are concerned, every watch we sell, we plant 212 trees in sub-Saharan Africa. Now, in terms of profitability, it's not a good idea. In terms of brand awareness, it's also not a very good idea because it could be perceived as greenwashing or it could backfire on you. So we don't talk about it all that much. But it is, and a client mentioned this to me 2 weeks ago during the Time Zones exhibition. He mentioned, I'm buying your watch because it's Sadaqa Jariyah. You know what Sadaqa Jariyah is in Islam? So it's
even if I knew our listeners would.
It's so it translates to a continuous charity.
Okay.
If I give somebody $5 to have a meal, it's a one-time charity. I score good points with the Lord that one time. If I
give him a tree that feeds him every day.
If you do plant a tree and the tree would last 150 or 200 years, it's providing shade, it's improving the quality of the soil, etc., etc. For as long as that tree is active, you who financed it are getting the good points with the good Lord. Yeah. So it just happened to be this way. I have never paid attention to that. And it's one of the things that I'm proud to do, but although I'm talking about it now, it's not something we put forward in our communication.
Omar, what is an advice that you would give to somebody who's trying to enter the luxury business now with something new?
Have a good reason to do it.
Besides wanting to make money.
Wanting to make money, so I didn't
Clearly
answer to that.
It's not your number one priority.
Honestly, my priority now in terms of business is to break even. If I break even and I manage to stay broken even for 5-10 years,
you're happy.
I'm super happy because, like I said, my purpose is to build the brand, is to build the legacy, right? It will take 10, 15, 20 years, and that's fine, that's okay. Good things take time. There is no how many
quality takes time. Quality and success take time, and hard work.
Let me give you a good example. 6 years ago, Philippe Plain. You remember that brand?
Yeah.
It was huge.
Yeah.
Where is it today? Juicy Couture was huge. Where is it today?
A lot of those,
so many brands have shot up so fast, high, Von Dutch, and went back down. In the watch industry, in fashion industry, in any industry. So, it's the hare and the turtle. Tortoise,
depending on where you live.
Voilà.
Omar, what is the biggest lesson you've learned? And I want to thank you, first of all, because you're one of our few guests who are in business more for the passion than for the money side of things. And I think that's important also to show that side of things. Of course, you're in it for the money. Everybody's in the business to make money. But at the end of the day, like you said, if you break even for 10 years, you're super happy because you're enjoying and loving what you're doing.
100%.
So that's important. What is the biggest lesson that you've learned from this venture? Because I'm sure it wasn't easy. Sometimes it's discouraging at the beginning. And you know what? I want to be honest about this. At the beginning, you got a lot of the first watch, let's say you got a lot of support from your friends. Everybody wants to help you.
Yes.
Everybody loves you. You're a great person. You're one of the,
And
honestly,
people
you're one,
bought
you're,
it
one-
for
you're, one,
that.
you're one of the nicest people I know. You've always been super generous with both your time and your hospitality and all these things. I was one of those people. I ended up not doing it. I can't remember for what reason at the time, but I was surely going to support you by buying one watch for the first watch at the very least. A lot of your friends did that. Okay, that's the first batch. I think in Lebanon we have a saying that says بكرة بيدوب الثلج وبيبين ال-" So tomorrow the snow will melt and the real stuff will show under it. So once you had your batch of friends buying those watches, the second watch you actually had to go out and sell it, right? And market it and sell it and so on. So tell us a bit, what has been your biggest lesson, I would say, in resilience or in mental toughness or something like that?
Honestly, so many.
Yeah.
The first one is the hardest part is loneliness. It really is hard because you need to make calls, you need to take decisions, and you know that they won't always be the right ones, but you need to make a judgment call. Yeah. And I have made mistakes, or I have created myself fantastic learning opportunities. Second thing, actually first great learning is that without the support of my wife, my partner in life, she's my co-founder, really. And my kids, I couldn't do it because they have to live with me and accept my mood swings and my stress and all of that.
And with entrepreneurship comes a lot of mood swings and
100%. 100%. Yeah. So without their support, it's impossible. Second thing is, and I'm quoting Michael here, celebrate the wins, learn from the failures, don't let your emotions run too high. One way or the other. The wins are great. Yeah. Don't get overexcited. Yeah. Because when the slam comes here and it's coming, you don't want it to bury you, right?
Michael's always been a good coach in business. I mean, we have lunch every once in a while, and we exchange a lot of ideas and exchange a lot of and I thank him for that because he's very generous with his time, given where Property Finder is today. But yeah, always good advice, and very methodical in his approach.
It's very well organized.
For a tech innovator or a tech founder, I find him very methodical rather than these freestyle guys that we see. So
I remember when I first became an entrepreneur back in Dynalux, one of the first things he said, look, if you have to fail quick.
Yeah, it's true. He's right. It's not wrong. Okay, so definitely, lessons of how important your family is, and great word by say, my family is my co-founder or my wife's my co-founder. Second thing, like you said, celebrate the highs, accept the lows, and keep a cool head. I think that's important. What's the third one, is if there was one as a lesson that you've learned from all this venture?
And this is very hard for me, is accept that you don't know everything.
Yeah.
And although I might have a vision, so for instance, I have a person called Kama who's the community manager. She helps out with the social media, etc. She's maybe the fourth or the fifth person in the last 4 years to help out. And while the others were really good, they tended very quickly to do what I told them to do.
Whereas this one will fight you back.
Well, as I was hiring her, I was telling her, look, I will be very opinionated, but I don't know this topic as well as you do. So if you're convinced in your core that I am wrong, tell me so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very, very
good. But it took 4 people before her for me to realize that.
You know, like you say, you live, you learn, and you build, you learn as well.
Exactly.
I'm gonna finish with this. I want you to finish this sentence for me. The real price of creating a luxury brand in Dubai is ... Where do I start?
No, I'm still learning. Well, I don't have an answer. I don't know, man. I don't know. You tell me. I'm still figuring it out.
Yeah.
Honestly, to answer that would be super pretentious. It would mean that I have. I'm not.
Would you say that, and you're still building that brand, would you say it's been more joy than suffering?
100%. 100%. Because
What percentage of it has been joy and what percentage of it has been suffering?
Let me put it this way. You know, sometimes when you pick your teeth with a toothpick and you have a little bit of bleeding, it's a little bit painful, but there's a bit of pleasure in it.
Yeah.
That's the kind of pain there is. You see what I mean?
That's an amazing way to finish. Thanks, Omar, for this visual. Omar, my friend, thank you very much
Habibi,
for sharing your experience with us.
Hang on.
Yeah, maybe we'll look at your latest watch and then have a look.
Look, you said something. You weren't amongst the first people to get a Magana because you thought, I'll wait and see, etc. And you were right. Here's what I want. I don't want people to buy my watch to support me, although I am very grateful for the support.
Of course.
I want first people to buy the brand.
Yeah.
If you appreciate the brand, great. I can accept that you don't like the watch.
Yeah.
And I know you don't.
The watch.
My first one. I know you appreciated the quality, but it's not your
quality, but it wasn't
not your jam.
It wasn't my,
right.
Yeah.
Maybe this one will be, and if it's not, that's fine.
Let's see.
This is called Tanja, which is the name of a city in northern Morocco where I studied.
I like this a lot. I love the dial.
I've done 6 versions with 6 different stone dials.
Yeah, that's
It's
very
in
nice.
brushed steel. It was designed by a good friend of ours, Iman Cochellato, who's a fashion designer who never drew a watch in his life before.
What's the material of the...
It's made out of steel. It's powered by a Miyota quartz movement from Japan.
Wow.
I'm using Miyota because I wanted the watch... Miyota because it's super qualitative, and a quartz movement because I wanted the watch to be very thin. This is 37 mm.
very thin,
37.
Which is quite trendy now. Not the smaller, I would say, but the less huge.
Less in your face.
Yeah, exactly. Very nice.
So the first watch was 40. This is 37. It's 8 mm thick. It's super sleek, and all of them have stone dials. And we're doing the pre-launch in 1 or 2 weeks.
Are all the Maganas quartz?
No, the first ones were automatic with a complication. This is time and date.
Omar, thank you so much. Best of luck. This is beautiful, by the way. This is a beautiful piece. Best of luck with this.
Then you tell me off camera what you really think.
Of course I will. Of course. Thanks for sharing with us. And we hope you enjoyed this episode with Omar Chaoui, who is a watch creator and who's created his own watch brand, something you don't see very often. See you next time.